going on, everybody? Massy and Trib here from Soul King Crew TCG.
What's going on, everybody?
We're gonna bring you that smoker deck profile that we promised you. We just want to say thank you so much for getting the 10 likes on the video that we asked for. And as promised, we're here with a little bit of a deck profile that we've been cooking up.
Yeah, we really appreciate all the love and support that we've been getting. Doesn't go unnoticed. We actually been in talks with a sub goal. So next up, if we get 100 subs, we're gonna do a giveaway. We're thinking about the black structure deck giveaway for 100 subs, and if that works out well, you know, future prizes to come.
Yeah, 100%. Just want to say that we're really grateful for all the love and support we've been getting, not only the subs and the views, but the comments section. We really do appreciate the feedback, so definitely keep it coming. So without further ado, the new color and the new black deck of the format, the new control deck, mid-range, kind of spicy. Me and Trib have been doing a lot of talking and a lot of brainstorming on what ratios and kind of cards are going to work in this deck. Trib, how you been feeling about this deck?
Dude, I'm stoked about it. You know, at first, I was a little bit iffy on it, and a lot of people weren't so sold on it. But doing a lot of play testing and really trying it out and just seeing how great it could be, it's probably one of the best control decks in OP-02. Especially playing it correctly and utilizing all of its utility. It's a great deck. I mean, we've been having so much fun. We've been at it for days, trying to find what works with it. Get to show you this here.
No, 100%. Yeah, the deck is, it really has been a blast to play. Just the mirror matches are fun. We started messing around with Sakazuki at first, but recently kind of made the switch to Smoker. Just seeing that even in the mirror matches, right, it is kind of, it feels better to get that -1. It really does go kind of the extra mile, as opposed to the spending the 3 Dawn to pop a card, right, that's at 0.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so let's I'm going to talk a little bit about the leader here, and then we'll dive into some of the choices that we made and why we kind of decided that those were the ratios to go with. So Smoker for 1 Dawn, right? You're going to be able to activate his ability to -1 cost on one of your opponent's characters. If there is a 0 cost character in play at that point, right, you're going to get an extra 1,000 power. So what's kind of nice is on those first turns, I feel, even if we look back to the YouTube gameplay video that we put up yesterday, you're able to kind of minus those low cost, even 1-drop characters, and just swing at leader and save the extra Dawn for something that you'd rather play.
Yeah, like Mossy said before, we were testing Sakazuki and just, you know, being able to -1 and making something 0. You have so many decks that play 1-drops, you know, Tony Choppers, mirror matches you have to 0. You have so many people that play 1-drops, right? So Smoker just made the most sense.
Yeah, 100%. So the leader has been, honestly, it's been great. So we've been out here smoking a few of the meta decks, right? Playing against Kinemons, playing against Zoros, Whitebeards, and it really can stand up against the best of the best. So let's dive into some of the card choices. Trib, start us off with the Kuzan here.
Yeah, for sure. So Kuzan, 4-drop, 5k, really strong card. You don't play this less than 3. Here we have it at 3 for a few reasons, which we'll dive in when we get later on into the cards. But you know, his on-playability is draw 1 card. There's only 2 cards in OP-02 that will allow you to draw in black, so having him is critical. And then when attacking, give up to one of your opponent's characters -4 to their cost. And anybody playing black knows minusing costs is important, because you just pop so many things with so many different cards. So -4 when attacking is really, really big. Really great card. Like I said, I probably wouldn't run it less than 3 or 4, and you'll be good.
Yeah, we could definitely come back to this one, because being able to -4 comboing with a lot of your other cards, you're going to see how the black cards synergize so well with each other, just to be able to minus something or get rid of something off the board. But yeah, this card being able to replace itself is also beautiful. So definitely 3 or 4, I agree with that, and that's why we chose to go with 3, just because of, right, the no combo. But being able to get that card back is nice.
For sure. I think, you know, next up is probably one of the best cards in the deck, and it's going to be Kobe.
Yeah, Kobe is one of my favorite starters. along with a card that we'll look at later in the list. Being able to drop this on maybe your second turn, right, if you started the game, and just get rid of like a blocker, or as we noticed in the video, we were able to get rid of that Bonnie to stop like that advantage before it even began. Kobe is great just for even getting through those small blockers, like Trib said, like that Tony Chopper that people are going to drop, the beige, anything that's like low to the ground, get it out of the way and then swing in for face, right, to kind of end the game as well. So there's a bunch of different ways we can kind of use Kobe.
Right, and we're going to talk about Kobe even more as we go over cards, because a lot of these cards, like we said, are going to minus cost of cards. So not only can you drop low, if you combo it with some of the other these cards in the deck, you could drop something a lot bigger.
Yeah, just because like even like looking at the 10-drop Kuzan, right, he's going to minus things, but he has to pop a 0 cost. Hitting that number of 3 is pretty easy. Get rid of a 5-drop, get rid of a 6-drop, a 7-drop, right? And then you're just dropping Kobe, popping it, and just going on with your plays. So yeah, Kobe's been sick. I love this card.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's hop over to the big boy of the deck. All right, this is my favorite card in the deck. Me and Trib have been doing a lot of talking about our boy Sakazuki. So Trib, lead us off with Sakazuki.
So Sakazuki, right? Like, there's not much wrong with him. He's a 6-drop, 7k. That on playability, you may trash one card from your hand, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less.
Just get him out of here.
That's insane. You're dropping so many things, and like I said, if you're familiar with the black deck, you're gonna see the card later on in the video. I keep saying that because there's so much combo in this deck, right? But there's a card called Ice Age. Ice Age for 1 literally will minus 5 from any card, any opponent's card. So think about it like that. If they drop a 10k for 7 Dawn with Sakazuki and that Ice Age combo, you're just dropping it, and it's just insane. I said Kobe's one of the best cards in the deck. This is up there. There's probably 3 cards that you could arguably say are the best cards in the deck, and this is definitely one of them.
Yeah, for sure. This is one of our top tier cards. This is a deck that we're going to be seeing in the black meta for a while. If you're playing black, this is definitely a card you're going to be playing. So Sakazuki, definitely a 4-of. We want to see it. We want to remove stuff. We want to take life with it. Definitely a great option. All right, moving on to the next card, Sengoku, 2-drop. Okay.
Yeah, so Sengoku, this is one that we've been in discussion with. Playing him, keeping him, switching something out for him. But we figured playing him at 2, him being a 2-drop, 3k, really important. He has a 2k counter. You know, getting him on the board early. If you see him early, he's fine. You know, dropping him so you can put 1 Dawn on him. His ability is, for 1 Dawn when attacking, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2 to their cost during this turn. Again, talked about the importance of minusing costs to the opponent's characters to help you combo out and just pop things with your other characters. So getting him early is great. I would say if you don't really get him early, if you don't see him too early, you're really just holding him for 2k combo, in my opinion. So running him at 2 is probably the best bet. You could run him at more just for 2k combos, but 2 has been working for us so far.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple other better 2k combos, and we're going to talk about them, or one of them actually right now. So going to the 1-drop, we were talking about how this card is the Black Otama. When you're out here, you're dropping it for 1. It's a 2k combo. On play, you're minusing something 2 cost, so instead of minusing 2k, right, you're minusing something 2 cost, which is going to go a lot further in this smoker deck than, I mean, anything else, right? So being able to kind of reach that number of 3 with those 5 cost cards to get a Kobe off, or get rid of something a little bit bigger when you combo it with a Sakazuki. This card has been phenomenal, honestly, and it does go a long way, and just keeping it for the 2k as well, right, along with our Son Goku, is going to go a long way for us as well if we need to keep some of our bigger characters alive.
Yeah, there's not really much else to say about it. You know, Massy here really covered most of what she's going to be able to do. Again, minusing costs of the opponent's character is the main thing that you want to do in this deck, and you want to combo your cards right. And this is going to just be a combo with 2k counter, so great card.
Yeah. Yeah. Suryu is going to be very clean for us. Okay, our low to the ground blocker for the Smoker deck is going to be Rosinante. Okay, we get a nice 1K counter out of him, which is nice. He's a 2K body, so he's not huge. But you're going to notice in a lot of the games that you're playing, sometimes it's nice to combo him off with 7 Dawn with like a Hina if you need to, or Borsellino that we'll talk about in a little bit. But he's been solid for us. I like Rosinante for sure.
Yeah, this is another one where, Massy said really won't be able to do it. Low cost blocker. It's going to help early on, later in the game. Running him at 4 is great. I think that we were running him at 3 at some point too.
Right.
3 or 4. This is another card that you really don't want to run less than 3 or 4 on, just because of his utility and the combo you could do with him. And that's basically it. I'm gonna start the next one here, right? I'm gonna start Hina, because Hina was one of my favorite, and I think I might have convinced Massey a little bit on Hina and got him sold on her just a little bit.
Yeah, this is my girl now. I love Hina. Hina's a great addition for sure. I'd agree. I was fighting Trib on it for a while, but I've come to terms with, I think Hina deserves a spot in the
deck. This might be a card that you 3 or 4, but it's definitely a card you should run at. Just you do see her. She's a 5-drop, 6K, 1K counter, a blocker with an on-block effect that choose up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less. The chosen character cannot attack during this turn, right? And we talk about minusing costs, minusing this, minusing that, right? So like, even though you can't do it on your opponent's turn, she's still super important, right? So her on-block really will stop 2 attacks. So you could block and then block somebody for 6 or less. That's crucial, especially with this deck where you're trying to control and you're trying to get to late game and you're trying to build your board. Blocking 2 attacks with 1 card is insane.
Yeah. The only thing that I think she's great against every deck. The only thing that I didn't really agree with was her being 6K. She's kind of at that Jet Pistol range where it feels kind of bad where you're spending the 5 Dawn if she gets Jet Pistoled. But that's where it comes down to kind of knowing your matchups, when to drop what card at what time, right, and how to tempo it the correct way and sequence your cards so that you're playing around certain things. But other than that,
100%.
Card's been absolutely amazing, right? Hina's definitely a card that we want to keep. All right.
For sure.
Start us off with the boss of the deck.
Borsellino. So we talked about Kobe. We talked about Sakazuki, right? Saying that they're probably one of the best cards in the deck. This is probably the best card in the deck. Not only is he a 4-drop, low cost, he's a 4-drop 5K, 1K counter. On your opponent's turn, this character gains 1,000 power and cannot be KO'd by effects.
He's broken.
And he's a blocker, right? So if you are playing a mirror match, any of this minusing to him and trying to, them trying to Sakazuki him or whatever the case may be, trying to pop him, won't work. Jet Pistol won't work. You actually have to block with it, or they have to, if he's rested, they have to attack it. And he's super strong, right? There's nothing bad to say about this card. I think it's literally the best card in your deck, and it's no competition.
So funny, just thinking to like the mirror match like Trib was just talking about, it's really just the Borsellino ballpark at that point. Who can drop more Borsellinos, and you just create this wall of light, right? And you're just swinging in when you were able to punch for enough. So this card's going to be interesting, very interesting. Play it at 4. If you're not playing it at 4, don't play.
Right, do yourself.
I'd say do
yourself a favor. Play it at 4.
Yeah.
If you're playing it at 3, play it at 4.
Yeah. 2, switch it to 4. All right, moving on.
Yep. We'll move on. We'll move on to Garp, and I'll let Massey take this one.
Yeah, one of our favorite starters here, Monkey D. Garp, is one of our 2K combos that we can use later in the game to keep ourselves healthy. Also, one of our favorite turn 2 or turn 1 drops where we can keep him on board if we're getting stuff to low 0 cost. We attach the 2 Dons, swing at the leader, make him pitch a card or take the life, and you're popping that 0 cost card on board. Get around those little blockers if you need to, or just keep your big boys alive, right? Block with Borsellino, drop another 2K, keep Sakazuki on board, keep Kuzan healthy. This card's all around great. I've seen some people argue that it's good to play at lower numbers like 2 or 3, but I keep it at 4. I like it a lot.
I agree. You know, keeping it at 4 is critical, especially because you kind of want to see it early on, right? And when we talk about all these cards that we've been talking about, that minus cost, minus cost, minus cost, and him being a 2-drop and you playing him early and having cards to minus, 2 or 3 early on, and he's able to, if you put 2 Dawn on him, he's at a 5k. You could attack leader and just pop a character on board.
And then they
Seeing
have
him
to deal
early,
with him.
yeah. Then they really do have to deal with him, and people know that now. Like, I played a lot of matches where I'm dropping him and they're trying to get rid of him quick.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen people try to get rid of him quick. I played against Green. Okiku will rest him and attack him with leader. Like, they're trying to get rid of him quick, and if they don't, they'll know why. They'll realize, like, dang, I should have got rid of him.
Yeah, for sure. This is a card. Play it if you're playing Smoker. Play Monkey D. Garb the 2-drop. The card is 5. It's phenomenal. It's definitely a phenomenal choice. All right, moving on to the boss monster of the deck. Okay, 10-drop Kuzan. Tell us a little bit about this guy, Trib.
Kuzan. So this is the one I really wasn't sold on, and this is one that actually Massy got me sold on more so, and to play him 2 or 3 in this deck. And I really think that it really makes sense, especially in this deck list that we created, right? We created a really good control, mid-range deck where we're going to get to late game, and having this card late game is insane, right? 10-drop, 10k. On your turn, all your opponent's character get -5 to their cost, right? We're not going to talk about Sakazuki that could pop a 5k, or if you have other Ice Age at -5, you could play something. There's so many combos with him, right? On top of that, on play is a KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 0. So if they have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, any type of Dawn on their board, and that you're minusing 5 to all of them, and then you're just going to KO up one of them for free.
Right.
It's insane, right? You take board control. On top of that, if you have life advantage, like, you want to save your blockers for him. There's so many things to do. I'm going to let Massy talk about the combos that he experienced with Kuzan, because he had a lot of great results with them.
Yeah, just being able to kind of deal with your opponent's board, slap this down when you're pretty healthy, and just finish the game. This is a great game ender. Just being able to have that static effect where on your turn, all of your opponent's characters are -5 cost, which makes literally every card in your deck that pops something viable. So almost every card that your opponent's going to drop can be dealt with by Kobe, right? Every card in the game currently can be dealt with by Sakazuki with Kuzan on board, right? A card that we're going to talk about in 2 more cards here is another card that's going to be able to deal with almost every card in the game that can be popped by an effect, right? So comboed with Kuzan, this is a card that you'll slap down if you have a blocker or 2 to set up the turn previous, and then you're just rolling through to end the game after that. So like Trib said, we've made this deck to really kind of focus around controlling the board. How can we stay alive versus all these different meta decks, especially decks that are going low to the ground, like Zoro, that's going to be very popular off the start of OP-02. And this is a card, once you get to the end of the game, you're kind of just ending it. So this is a card, I love it too. I could make the argument to play it at 3 because I want to see it, and kind of use it as maybe another discard outlet if I have 2 of them. But this card has been phenomenal in testing. You definitely want to see it.
I agree, 100%.
All right, going on to our last 2K here. The one that we decided to pick is the 3-drop Tashigi.
Yeah, so we decided to 3-drop Tashigi for a few reasons. If we're not using him for a 2K counter, and we could get him on board, and we could activate his effect, which is you may rest his character, give to one of your opponent's characters -2 to their cost during this turn. Again, we talk about the importance of minusing cost. He's crucial. The only problem is you have to rest him, so you can't really use his 4K and attach Dawn to him. You're just really resting him to -2. So to me, he's more fodder for when you have to discard stuff from your hands and you have to use 2K combos. In my opinion, I think that's what he's best for. But if you do have board control and you want to drop him, I think it could be worth it.
Yeah, and 2K counter is always going to be good. That's what I like about the Smoker deck is you're running a lot of 2K counters. I think we're running 14 altogether in this list. So we have the 4 Garp, the 4 Tashigi, 4 Suru, and the 2 Sengokus as well. So a lot we can deal with, even when our opponent's pressuring our the face or attacking leader a lot.
Yep.
Trib's favorite card. He's pushed this card on me. I agree that it's a good card as long as you're playing it the correct way. So I'll let Trib take this one away.
So he's right. I did push this on him. I stand by this card 100%. He's a 5K. I mean, he's a 5-drop, 6K card. He does have no counter, that's why we only play him really at 2. Some people could argue you could play him at 3 or 4. It could get a little bit bricky if you play him at 3 or 4. His effect is, activate. You may trash 1 card from your hand and rest this character. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. So, I like him because of the fact that, you might have cards in your hand. You might have multiple Tashigis in your hand, right? You might have multiple cards that you don't really want to play. You might have Sengoku late game. You might have the Monkey D Garp 2-drop late game in your hand where you could afford trashing a card. And comboing it with, right? So we talked about that 1-drop that minus is 2. We talked about all these cards at minus, and you leave him on board and you're activating it every turn. You could just trash so many of their cards, right? 4 or less, we're getting rid of a lot of blockers, right? Late game, we're getting rid of their blockers. The next card that you're going to see here is Ice Age, right? So if you still have Monkey D Garp up and drop Ice Age, like you're almost KOing anything. He's super useful, and we're gonna go back to Massy's comment about Hina, that he is in the jet pistol range. So you gotta be wary of when to use him and who you're playing against. My favorite thing to do when I play against him is that you do have to rest him. So if you have a chance to drop blockers before you activate him, you'll probably see better success. If you just drop him by yourself and activate him, you're probably going to think he's pretty useless in this deck. So if you play him smart, he's super.
Yeah, he really is honestly a great choice if you're playing him the correct way. I think if you drop him down, if you're able to leave him up and kind of leave it on board as like a threat on the crackback for your opponent's going to have to deal with this before dropping anything significant that they want to play, right? Because you're just going to be able to neg the cost on it and then just tap Garp, pitch a card, and pop it. So Garp in testing has been great. I like him at 2. I'd probably keep him personally at the 2. This has been a great ratio, and like we're going to kind of talk more about how Garp can combo with some of our event cards as well. So moving on is an event card that we've been definitely messing with the ratio. There are arguments that you can make for 3. I like the card at 2. We've decided that 2 is pretty like a safe number. A lot of the trigger effects off of the new cards here are amazing, right? This deck, all the effects from our event cards off life are going to be beneficial in one way or another. And there's most of the time we're going to be able to activate them, right, to push our play further. So Ice Age, activate for 1 during the main, give to one of your opponent's characters -5 cost, and that's going to be able to, like Trib said, combo with Monkey D Garp to even K up to something as high as a 9 cost card. We're going to be able to combo it with Kuzans and Sakazukis and Kobis and all our cards that are going to be able to pop a bunch of our opponent's characters. So Ice Age at the right time is an absolutely great card, and it's been kind of cold and testing in a good way. Been kind of freezing up our opponent's board.
Yeah, really couldn't say any better than what Massy said right there. The only argument I will make for this card is that you could play it at 3. You could play it at 3 and, maybe cut one event card down that you're going to see that we have in our list here and play it at 3. But I would not play this card. It has so much combo potential, especially for 1 Dawn. You're minusing 5 and you you could do so many things with it. You could drop Kobe down, right? And you can -5 for something, and Kobe for 3 could drop an 8 drop if there's an 8 drop on board, right? And you're doing that for 4 Dawn. Like there's
been a
so
lot of
much combo
times,
potential.
I feel like too in our testing where we're able to, if we have a Garp on board, right, drop an Ice Age on something that's a little bit bigger, and then attach the Dawn, swing it lead, and pop that card that's been kind of problematic or getting in the way. Perfect for getting rid of Queen blockers as well. So
Yep, for sure.
it's a fun card.
Great. It is fun.
Yeah.
I'll talk about it. The next card. Next card we have up here is Meteor Volcano. Another event card with an absolute awesome trigger. Trigger is draw 2 cards and trash 1 card from your hand. You know, I said that there's only 2 cards that really draw. And technically there is. This one draws off a trigger. So running this at 2 we felt was just right. The main effect is KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. Could be really good if you have the right combo amount in hand, if you have things that will minus to that 1 or less. You could drop that for 2. I feel like this card's better for its trigger, but the main is, you know, the main is alright too, and that's why we play that too.
Yeah, it fixes your hand off the life, and it makes you able kind of to push past those blockers in the late game or the early game, which has been great in testing. So 2 or 3 is a safe number for Meteor Volcano, whatever's been working out well for you. But we found that 2 was a pretty safe number.
Yep, for sure. I will also introduce the next card, and this card is Impact Wave, another event card. This is probably Massy's favorite event card, and it's evident why, right? It's a counter. Your leader gains up to 1. Your leader or one of your characters gains up to 4k power during this turn. Then KO up to one of your opponent's active characters with a cost of 3 or less. Again, when we talk about low blockers, when we talk about just things that are in the way, little nuisances, and that you could combo out of attack, this is insane. And then if you read the trigger, right, because we talked about the triggers being all crazy good in this black deck over here, the trigger is KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. So there's so much potential for this card. It probably is the best event card. I try to say, you know, the next card that you see might be the best event card, but Massy really likes this card, and you know, as we're playtesting, I can see why. It's definitely one of the best event cards, hands down.
It's really fun to do some early plays against red with this card where you leave 2 Dawn open after swinging in. Say if you go first, you have the 3 Dawn, you make a smoker play where you're able to get to 7k with the leader. You swing in, leave the 2 Dawn open with an Impact Wave in hand. If they drop something like a Nico Robin and swing with their leader, you're able to just combo out of it, keep that life early, and get rid of one of their cards, and just being able to deal with their board early, or being able to use it in the late game to save like Sakazuki or Kuzan, or combo it into one of your blockers to keep them alive. This has definitely been my favorite card out of the event cards in testing. Impact Wave. You can mess around with the ratios, but we found that it's
3 or 4. That's it. 3 or 4.
Solid at the higher numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't play it less than 3. You got to play it 3 or 4, hands down.
All right, coming down to the last card that we decided to finalize the list with.
Great Eruption. Great Eruption is the one that I was arguing about. That I was saying is probably the best event card. I would say it's this or Impact Wave. The reason being is that this one is a 1 Dawn, draw 1 card, then give it to one of your opponent's characters -2 costs during this turn. Mm-hmm. So when we talk about the 1 drop up top, right, the Tsuru, right, she does the same thing. It's a 1 drop to -2, but she doesn't draw, right? So this one you're playing, you're drawing a card and you're minusing 2. Really, really strong. On top of that, I've seen, again with playing late game, get this and you get it off of the life, so you could trigger it. Your opponent trashes 1 card from their hand, which if you're in late game, 1 card could be critical.
Yeah, it really could make all the difference, where it's come down to a couple games that have been close have really sometimes been decided by getting our event cards off of life, and the cards like Impact Wave and popping up blocker. That's why sequencing is going to be so important going forward into the new meta, where we're getting a lot more removal and we're getting a lot more options in the different decks that we're playing. Playing all these event cards, having these awesome effects out of the life, they've been great for us. So I agree, Great Eruption's an amazing card, 2 or 3, and it's a safe call.
Yeah, for sure. Great Eruption, 2 or 3. I agree with that. And you know what? I think that concludes, right, our deck list that we made.
Yeah, I think there's one more thing I wanted to mention is when we made the video, instead of the Garp at the time, we were running the Sengoku. And this was a pretty interesting option as well, just being able to have the 1k counter. It's also a 5-drop 6k, and it has the effect same as our Kuzan, where if you're swinging in, it's going to minus something for cost. We did find that in testing, minusing, we had a lot of options, right? We were able to kind of lower the cost of our opponent's characters a lot. So that's why we made the option to go with the Garp, just to make it a little bit more of a control variant and keep the board clear while we're able to swing in and take life slowly and then end the game with a big push. If you're looking for something a little bit faster, instead of the 5-drop options, I would say Sengoku, right, Trib? Or we were talking also about maybe running the double attack Smoker, because those are going to help you push through the game a little bit quicker. But for our control variant, and the way that we decided that would be the best way to go forward with the deck is really controlling the board, keeping those mid-range EA characters on the board, and then taking a life slow, ending the game when you find yourself in a position where you can kind of just punch through or get rid of a blocker or two, and your opponent's already kind of in a tough spot from you controlling the board. So the deck's amazing. We've been having a lot of success testing it online. This is a deck we're definitely going to be playing going forward. Myself, along with the Whitebeard deck. Trib, he's going to be playing Zoro along with the Smoker deck. And this is a deck that me and Trib are going to kind of keep working on, keep making better, and really find the best, most optimal way to play it going forward, because this is a deck that is going to be awesome in the future.
Yep. You know, again, Massy really hit the nail on the head there. There's so many different things that you can really play in this deck. You know, it's a newer deck, so, you know, play testing it and trying new things, it's going to be what we're going to be doing for a while. You know, the dual attack Smoker is one of the cards that you could argue you could put in there. He's super strong. It all depends on really how you want to play this deck. The deck that we kind of put together here was mostly for that reason. Control, control, control. You can control the board. You get the 10-drop Kuzans down late game. You know, if you have board control already, it's basically over from there. You know, you have so much 2k counter to get the late game. You know, your impact waves. There's so many things that will allow you to get the late game with this deck and allow you to really see all the combo it has and the potential it has. That, you know, I'm super excited to hear what you guys think about it, and you know, I really hope that some of you have some comments and feedback, because we also want to hear, you know, what you think about it and what you think about the black deck in general, right?
Yeah, what ratios you've been playing, or what options that we made that maybe you haven't tried yet that you want to try and agree with or like. And this is something we want to build on in Theorycraft together, so any comments, we just leave them down under the video and we'll definitely talk about them for sure.
Yeah, and again, we want to thank you all for the support, the likes, the comments, the subscriptions, just, you know, all the love that you guys been giving us. It's been fantastic so far, and we really hope that you guys stay tuned, and we can't wait to show you what's in store for SKC and this channel.
Yeah, we do have a lot planned for you. We have a lot coming forward, a lot of content, a lot of gameplay, a lot of deck profiles, and we're going to try to make our way out to as many tournaments, get footage for you, get deck profiles, and just get as much feedback and show our love and support for the game. Because that's really why we made this channel, is really to kind of show everyone how much we enjoy playing this game, how interested in the game we are, and how involved we want to be. So thanks for sticking with us. Make sure you drop a like on the video for us. We got a lot of gameplay coming your way, and toss us a sub, show the support, keep it coming, and like we said, 100 subs, we're going to be doing our first giveaway for the Navy Black Structure Deck. And thanks for stopping by.
Thank you all. Much love and much appreciated.
Have a good one, everybody.